Welcome to episode 6 of season 2 of FountainCast, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, striving to be your one-stop fountain of information regarding your local business community here in Fountain Hills. I'm your host, Hannah Toth, and we are joined again today by co-host Kristin Milashoski. Be sure to stay tuned after this episode as well to hear about upcoming chamber events.
In today's episode, we're speaking with Peter Volny, organizer of the annual Fountain Hills event, Concours in the Hills. Concours in the Hills is such an enjoyable event for our town, raising $1.25 million to date for the Phoenix Children's Hospital. Concours in the Hills is taking off, even gaining international attention, which is fabulous. And the event is upcoming February 4th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Fountain Park. Peter, welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you today.
Thank you for having me. Most people don't want me.
Well, we are glad to have you. And if you could start off by just introducing yourself to our audience.
Well, I'm Peter Volny, and I'm, I guess, the lead organizer of Concours in the Hills.
Fantastic.
What brought you to Fountain Hills, Peter? Tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Well, I'm here on the Witness Protection Bureau. You can probably tell by my accent I wasn't born in Arizona. I actually grew up in Australia. I've lived in about, I think, 7 countries now.
Wow.
Why we moved to Arizona? My wife claims I was acclimatizing to the heat of my final resting place. But I've been a car guy all my life. It almost never rains here, so we can drive our cars 365 days a year. What's not to love?
Right, absolutely. Perfect weather to keep your cars in beautiful condition.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. And if you could now introduce us to Concours in the Hills, tell us more about the event.
Well, I started the event actually in 2013. I went to the previous mayor, Linda Kavanaugh, and said I'd like to do a car show, and I wonder if I could park cars in the park. And she said, well, how many cars do you think you're going to get? And I said, well, I'm hoping for 100. I thought I might get 50 or 60. We've grown a little bit since then because this year we had 1,200 cars.
Wow,
so,
it's impressive.
It's really, I'd love to take credit for the success of the show, but the truth of the matter is the location. The park is such a beautiful place. All over the greater Scottsdale, the greater Phoenix area, there are cars and coffee events every single weekend. Every Saturday, there's 3 or 4, and they're all in parking lots. And this is the only one, as far as I know, that is on grass, but not only on grass, but in this beautiful location all around the lake with a massive fountain going off, and it just looks so beautiful there. So people love it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. Yeah, it's a beautiful backdrop for all the cars.
It is, yeah.
Yes. So tell us a little bit more, how did you get the idea to start this car show?
Well, I've got a few ridiculously priced toys myself, and so I was going to different car and coffee shows around the place, and they're all in parking lots. And the really good concourses around the world, whether it's Pebble Beach in the Monterey Peninsula or Amelia Island in Florida, and the famous ones around the world are all on grass. And I love living in Fountain Hills. We picked Fountain Hills when we were moving here. We looked all over the valley and just fell in love with Fountain Hills. So I knew the park, and I just thought, what a wonderful place for a show. Yeah. So that's kind of how it happened. And I wanted to do it for charity. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm a childhood cancer survivor myself.
You are. I didn't know that.
So I a hell of a long time ago, when I was a child, there were actually dinosaurs still roaming the earth. But I know what kids go through, and the Phoenix Children's Hospital is one of our own charities that we like to support. So when I started the show, I just thought it would be nice to give all the money to charity. And in fact, that's what's happened. There has not been one penny to any place other than the hospital. Everybody's a volunteer. Most of the volunteers actually live here in Fountain Hills, and they're wonderful. Some well-known people in the town who are just very, very supportive, and that's kind of how it evolved.
Right. Yeah.
And it really is just such an incredible event. I had the honor of being a guest at the event this last year. So I'm looking forward to February 4th, the next one. It is so much fun, and there's so many just beautiful vehicles and good food, great people. So
yeah, we have about 20 food trucks. They all sold out by lunchtime this year.
Oh my gosh, really?
So we're going to have more next year. For me, I love the cars. That obviously goes without saying. But one of the beauties of the show, I think, and this happens after every show, I get emails and calls from people saying, we love the show, but we made so many new friends at the show. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Another thing that I get a lot of personal satisfaction from is, and I'll give you a specific example. I invited one of the world's foremost automotive journalists who lives in Arizona to come to the show. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Wow. And he came, he'd never been to the show before, and he called me a few days or a week after the show, and he said, I'd never been to Fountain Hills. I've lived in Arizona for years. I've never been to Fountain Hills, and I just bought a house. And he moved to Fountain Hills, and he still lives here.
Wow.
So I think that's one of the benefits of the show. It brings a lot of people in, especially younger people. Absolutely. And if the town's going to survive and grow, we need younger people, not old people like me.
And it does. It attracts such a wide demographic to a town that many of them have never been to, which is incredible. So we thank you for all of your hard work and raising so much for Phoenix Children's Hospital. But what is your future vision for Concours in the Hills?
Well, as a matter of fact, the town have been very, very good to me. They closed off Saguaro because of the huge volume of traffic, but they have offered to close off Avenue of the Fountains and to expand the show there, and that's something that we're looking at. We could probably double the size of the show. This year, we actually turned both individual cars and sponsors away because we just didn't have room.
Wow.
And for those of you say you were at the show, anybody who was at the show, it was ridiculously crowded.
That's true.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. It brings so many people into Fountain Hills.
At the helicopter section, you literally couldn't walk. There were just so many people. And that's an interesting thing. We have half a dozen helicopters that we bring in, mainly military helicopters. The U.S. Marine Corps flies in an attack helicopter from San Diego just for the day of the show.
Wow.
And we're now negotiating with the Army to bring in an Apache and a Black Hawk.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah. I hope so too.
And kids just love that.
They
too.
do.
Yeah.
And we encourage kids, we encourage families to come out. It's just it's free. It's totally free. You don't have to pay a penny to park or to come to the show. So we want people to come out and enjoy it, and they will see cars. The most valuable car we had this year is worth a little over $20 million for one car.
Wow.
We have literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cars there. Many of them from private collections that you'll never ever see anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely one of a kind show. So we have friends that are out of state that we told them about it, and we said, you've got to come. They have their own car collections, and so you've got to come out to this and attend it. And
Kristin, that's an interesting thing because on Friday, what's today, Wednesday? Yes, on Friday, I got an email from a company in England, and they booked a spot in the show.
Really?
And they'd heard about the show in England.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, we're getting international publicity. I think this is good it's got to be good for Fountain Hills, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%. I agree. Peter, so we talked about the car show. Tell me a little bit personally, what do you do for fun? Obviously, cars are a central part of your life, but what do you do for fun?
Well, cars are probably the biggest thing, but my wife and I absolutely love traveling. I've been to just under 160 countries.
Wow.
We're on a mission to see every country in the world.
Wow.
How incredible.
Yeah.
And we go to a lot of the weird ones. I mean, a few years ago we went to North Korea.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I don't think Fountain Hills has anything to worry about from them. But no, we just love traveling. So we do 2 or 3 international trips every year. And that's our combined big passion. And cars.
Yeah. Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. To travel is to live. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
Best education.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It sure is. Yeah. So tell us how our listeners can get a little bit more involved, with Concours in the Hills and kind of stay up to date on, news for the event. Is there a website, or what's the best way to go about that?
Well, the website is www.concoursinthehills.org, and it's Concours, CONCOURS, inthehills.org. All the information is available there for businesses in town if they want to get involved. We have sponsorships. We do have some companies in Fountain Hills who are sponsors of the shows, and they can set up a tent and promote their business and sell right at the show. We have some food trucks. I was in an event last night for Bachelor's Pad, and they've got a food truck, and they've booked to bring the food truck in to the show.
Wonderful.
So, that's the easiest way.
Wonderful. Great.
Fantastic. And thank you again for joining us. That will wrap up episode 6 of season 2 of FountainCast. And once again, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Peter, thank you for joining us to share with our members and our audience about Concours in the Hills. What an incredible event for such an amazing cause. And be sure to mark your calendars for February 4th. And don't forget to share our show with friends, neighbors, clients, anyone in your network. And please like, rate, and review our show wherever you listen to your podcast. Upcoming Chamber news. The Chamber and Visitor Center wish you a very happy holiday season and will reopen at 8 a.m. on January 3rd. Be sure to mark your calendars for the January 5th ribbon cutting for Fountain Hills Physical Therapy and upcoming Fountain Hills Connect Breakfast on January 19th at 7:30 a.m. If you are unable to join us for this week's 12-12 at 12 sponsorship opportunity extravaganza, be sure to contact Kristin Milashoski at kristin@fhchamber.com to enter 2023 with your marketing plan solidified. Kristin, would you like to share a little bit about that event?
Absolutely. So Monday here at the Chamber, we are making it easy for you to plan your marketing for the coming year. Having a plan in place just makes things easier for our members during the year. And so they are able to come in that day. And if they want to sponsor a breakfast in June, they can sign up for that and get it all taken care of, get it out on their calendar, and you know what you're doing for the coming year. So the Chamber has a lot of excellent tools to market your business, including social media outlets, as well as traditional news media. And let's face it, Chamber events garner a whole lot of attention here in Fountain Hills. So
absolutely. So be sure to check the Chamber website for more details on all of our upcoming events or to request to do your own podcast, uniquely Fountain Hills episode, send us editions for the newsletter, and so much more. Thank you, Fountain Hills, for continuing to be the best community. Welcome to episode 6 of season 2 of FountainCast, a bi-weekly... Take 2.